Now, I know thousands of protesters went to Huntington Beach over the weekend to protest Governor Newsom. I always say that. Governor Newsom. Governor Gavin Newsom, right? His mandatory closure of Orange County beaches. There were a lot of encounters there. And California, in addition to that, has now a new list of approved outdoor activities if you live in California. Now, this is not an exhaustive list. I'm just going to throw out a couple for you. You may, according to the government of California, you may engage in meditation, yoga, soft martial arts. I'm not quite sure what that is. Dave, maybe you can tell us. I don't know. And you can
They're
also
not doing that with the New York police. I can tell you that.
That was not soft. That was not soft. And also watch the sunrise and the sunset. Dave, do you just feel so lucky and blessed that your government is allowing you to do these things?
I mean, just the level of absurdity of all of this. So you can do soft martial arts. Now, what does that even mean? Now, if they're telling you that you have to socially distance, what I assume they're saying is you have to do that with the people that live in your home. So that means most likely if you're doing martial arts, I assume you're doing it in your backyard. What are they? So you can't do regular martial arts in your backyard? You have to do soft martial arts in their backyard. I mean, all of this nonsense. Thank you for letting me watch the sunset and the sunrise and the rest of it. But this is just, it really, at some level, it feels like they're just testing us. How many ridiculous things can they say to us before we snap? And I said this on another show the other day, but I'm really starting to think that, I'm sure you guys saw the movie Idiocracy. I think we're about a week away from the government telling us that we have to water our plants with Gatorade because it has electrolytes. Like, they have got to the point where they're just going to test out the craziest stuff that they can say. Okay, you can sit Indian style, but you can't sit cross-legged, you know? Could spread the disease, you don't know.
Yeah. Chad, I'd like to also add on to this. Apparently, you can golf, but only by yourself and only if you walk. You don't even get a cart.
This is
by yourself.
So dumb. You can open the blinds and look outside, but only between 7 and 7:45 a.m. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, this crazy. Let me tell you, you know, you go back to Cuomo, who's talking about this social distancing and protecting each other. Yes, we have to protect ourselves physically. But, you know, the thing that nobody's talking about is our mental well-being and our social and emotional and spiritual well-being. I'm an extroverted person. I need people. Mm-hmm. I need that to energize. I like to be around people. We've got a guest that's coming on in the next day or two of my show. His son just committed suicide. Was there underlying conditions? Yes, there were. But it's because of this social distancing thing and because of not being able to socialize and everything, it threw his depression so deep that he ultimately committed suicide. So at what point in time do we look at situations like this and say, you guys are really doing some harmful damage by these just draconian measures of trying to keep everybody distanced from each other and shut down? That's not healthy at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and go ahead, Dave.
Well, to Chad's point, you know, it's like, at what point do we say to the government, you know, you're not allowed to tell me I can't go to my mom's house and give her a hug, because right now I can't do that. At what point are we going to say, you know, it's my niece's birthday and I know she's healthy and young and I'm healthy and young, and hey, I want to bring her a birthday cake? Like, at what point do we just say no more? And again, that's not diminishing whatever's going on with the reality of the virus and taking the proper precautions. But yeah, you know, the part that Chad's talking about there, we are social creatures. We need communication. We can't be left to only talking to each other through Zoom. I mean, it's great that you guys are in real life. Look at each other like you are human beings. You're carbon things right in front of each other. It's incredible, old school.
Well, you know, we're talking about mental health, and obviously that's a big component of all of this. But even when you look at the data that we have gotten during this pandemic, it suggests that vitamin D, obviously we already know, is very good for you. I realize I am like the conservative hippie, and I believe in things like vitamin D and elderberry and some things that some of the viewers may snub their noses at. But I mean, vitamin D, obviously very good for you, obviously very good for your body and your immune system. And then on top of that, what the research has told us, according to the top DHS scientists, is that sunlight is going to kill this virus more than anything else, that it cannot survive very long in heat and humidity. And yet, Dave, you guys are so restricted. You can't go to the beach. You can't, they're trying to restrict the way that you're getting the sunshine. I really feel like all of that really speaks to your point that this isn't really about safety so much as it's kind of a test to see how much the American public will put up with at the end of the day.
Right, because if it was real, let's say they really had a sense of fully how this would transmit in a public place if we started letting people out again, then they would tell us that. And they would say, okay, guys, we don't want to close all the beaches, but we do realize that maybe the beaches could be at 20% capacity. We're going to put some lines out on the beaches so that you have to stay X amount away. Groups can't come in more than 4 people, something like that. Like that would be a mature way that a government would do something honestly, that it would lay out a policy that was understandable. You may not love every facet of it, and maybe you have a family of 5 and you need to, get an exemption, something like that. That would make sense. But instead, they do these draconian, huge things, and then they're proud to do it, right? I mean, the deputy mayor in LA showed off this video of the empty beaches as if it was like a tourist video, and it's like, dude, you're supposed to be doing that when there's people on the beach, right? Like you're doing this backwards, unless this is suddenly your private island or something. So they don't do things that are mature. They just do it. And as I said before, they think by them doing it, that automatically makes it good or just. And that is simply not the truth. And in many ways, this is sort of our own fault. I certainly mean that from a Californian perspective. I didn't vote for these guys, but we have voted them in. So in many ways, we're getting our just rewards.
Yeah.